Chapter 1181 just dropped. You know what that means. Gotta get into it, review it, break it down. Let's see what Oda's cooking up. Chapter 1181 is titled God and Demon, or God and Devil. Pretty much the same thing. Our cover page is Carrot walking across a row of panda sharks. Quite an interesting animal combination, but that's Oda for you. It's good to see Carrot again, even if it's not a canon cover story, just a fan request. It's always good to see the Minks, see what they're up to. We open page one with a memory from 14 years ago where King Harold says that he will be remembered as the worst king in history, that Loki must kill him and claim the throne for himself. And then we come to Loki in the present where he says that Harold would have been 144 years old last year and that a giant's lifespan is 300 years. Basically, he was killed too early. He had so much life left to live, and of course comes to the conclusion that this person in front of him, IMU, is the one responsible for King Harold being killed, controlled, all that. And of course, IMU doesn't deny, but coldly says Mu was the one who bore this inconvenience. It was an inconvenience for me too. Come on, man, you gotta feel bad for me. Loki cocks back for Ragnar smash the black lightning, the Conqueror's hockey with the actual lightning as well, coming through the clouds, Kaido style, as he relives more of the flashback with Harold saying, "My reputation doesn't matter. All that matters is the future of Elbath." And through the entire sun realm, you see a bolt of lightning coming down, and Loki says, "What did you do to my father back then, you bastard?" Also in this panel, Oda made note to draw the giant sword. He didn't have to do that, so we're definitely going to get a lore drop on how this sword got placed here, who was big enough to wield this sword. So we see it multiple times in the chapter. It's definitely on purpose. Also, something I didn't bring up in the last chapter, Omen is actually has a couple different meanings, the way the kanji is written, and one of those ways is actually demonic aura, or also maki. So it's like hockey, but more demonic, we're assuming. So basically, Omen, maki, demonic aura, it's all kind of synonymous until we get the officials. We'll see how they do it in the anime as well, but I think Maki is probably the coolest name for it as of right now. Continuing to the next page, though, we see Loki bust out a new named attack called Ragna Izuchi, which translates to Iron Thunder Hammer. So, Usopp Hammer, Usopp upscale. It's always an Usopp upscale if it's in Elbath, of course. Imu, unfortunately, is unfazed by this new attack, though, and summons another Maki, Omen, demon emoji, blob, explosion, black flame, whatever you want to call it. These two come in contact, and they do not touch, which also kind of leads more towards the Maki translation being the closest, because, Conqueror's Hockey and Conqueror's Hockey, they don't touch. There's space in between, and that's the same with this attack. There's very clearly a gap, but this causes a giant hockey explosion as well. Everybody's getting blasted back. Even Loki is shocked, asking how Imu took that attack head on, and also asks, "What's going on with the Black Flame? What power do you have?" And basically, the idea is asking what his power is also translated as like what his Devil Fruit ability would be, which you'd think Imu would be like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be showing myself, so you're getting no details. But Imu actually decides to explain the ability a little bit. Imu starts to flex and is monologuing while also just going band for band casually with Loki. He says, "The Omen is the military might of Mu." And instantly after, gigantification just gets on Loki's size immediately. Loki's like, he turned into a giant on the spot, which, he should know that's kind of Luffy's shit as well. Like, he would have had to see Luffy go giant mode when he was riding his back. So I wonder if he's connecting the pieces as well. That like, this guy kind of has some of the same powers as this other Luffy dude that I was fighting with earlier. Imu then says that Omen or Maki or the demonic aura is a power that lies dormant in everybody. So no matter what race, whatever, all beings have Maki but just can't access it, or it's just you have to awaken it. And then immediately after that, we just get a Ragnar clash with Emu's staff looking thing, but it's the cloud end, and it's turned itself into a giant version of those Maki emoji demon balls. And it's a cool ass widespread, both going all out. Another big old explosion from the clash. Emu bounces off the clash over behind Loki's back, so above him, raises the staff, and once again that cloud part reforms and shapes into a like the hilt of a blade, and then where the blade would be is just black flames, and then right when he gets above Loki, the black flames shoot out and form into a blade, and it looks exactly like Yoru, Mihawk's blade, and the named attack is Nemesis, and the kanji meaning is Blade of Divine Punishment. So either way, Nemesis or Blade of Divine Punishment, cool ass move. Just Loki was putting up a good fight, but what can you do? Like, the bag is so deep for Emu right now. As Loki falls to the ground, Emu continues to monologue, saying people long for strength, and they're so desperate for it, yet it's so easy to attain through corruption. And then we see the flashback to when Dory and Brogy were under the Domi Reversi, and then the monologue continues and says, through converging interests that bind them in subjugation, a contract or a covenant, and then it shows Harold with the God's Night mark, the contract, of course, and then last but not least, and for that to become possible, from envy is born power. And also the kanji used for power in this scenario is the same as omen or the maki or the demonic aura. So from envy is born maki. And this trinity is dominion. So kind of a riddle, but I'm sure somebody's going to be piecing it together. I'm for sure going to be rereading this in every translation to see kind of what the general consensus is, and then go from there and kind of see what Emu's talking about, because a lot of it makes sense, but you know Oda's, there's always layers to this. Loki gets blasted again, and Emu says, Mu shall grant thee the power of a god, and basically tries to line up another contract with him, but right before they can finish talking, Loki says, I don't need that, loads up another Ragnar swing, slams down on Emu, but misses again. We get another shot of the giant sword going through Elbaf. I'm telling you, that thing is in there for a reason. Oda could draw any other area, but he's choosing to draw the sword every single time. And Loki, now running out of stamina, says, so that's your power, the dominion of a god? That sounds more like a contract with the devil, if I'm being honest. And Emu fires back with a one-liner, which, a title drop for the chapter. What's the difference between a god and a demon? Loki says, I don't know, but I won't be ruled by anyone. And Emu continues on saying, the joy of this world lies in dominion. And speaking of joy, the next panel looks to be a flashback in a silhouette of Emu and Joy Boy, and Joy Boy is smiling, and the text says, isn't that right? I assume that's from Emu going by the next line that's delivered, but it could have been Joy Boy as well. And this panel is also kind of confirming for people that Joy Boy and Emu might have been friends. That theory's kind of been a thing that's been going around for a while. I'm on board with it. I could see it being kind of like a Hashirama and Madara situation, where they just kind of had different points of views, but they started out being friends. And while Emu is distracted having this flashback, Loki starts loading up another Ragnar attack, while Emu lets out that inner thought again, isn't that right, Joy Boy, in a giant panel with their mouth wide open, looking kind of goofy. This back to One Piece, it reminding you that, yeah, they're cool looking, but, they're going to still have their goofy moments. We see the hockey reaching all the way to the library, and we also see Luffy is still there, munching as much food as possible. He's saying he needs to eat as much as he can. He's never felt hockey like this, so if he doesn't eat as much as he can, they're not going to have a chance to win, which, it's a pretty good reason. He told Loki to go stall so that I can get some more energy and I can come back and help you win this fight. And then we cut back over to Loki, who was charging up a giant Ragnar attack, And he calls out Imu. He says, "You're headed somewhere else," which can only mean one thing: you're underestimating me a little too much. So you don't know who you're fucking with. And knocks Imu all the way back into the base of the Atom Tree. He's like, "Take a taste of my medicine. You know, where I've been for 6 years. I'm gonna put you laying in the same exact spot." Imu, now laying in the tree, is actually bleeding. So Loki is officially doing the best. I mean, not only is he held out, I mean, this long, pretty much a whole chapter, and he's still going. But he also made Imu bleed. So, I mean, he's looking great so far. I mean, he's inevitably probably going to lose, but right now the stocks are up. And he's not backing down. He's not taking his foot off the gas. He immediately transforms back into giant Needhog mode. And now Imu is shitting their pants. We see the first look of shock on their face as Loki charges up another Thorheim. And as it's charging up, Imu tries to get the hollow purple hand sign off, however the fuck it goes, like this. I'm pretty sure this has to be like the amp version, maybe cupping it like makes it more potent. And right as the Thorheim is fired off, we just see the big explosion, but then the panel below, we see that Imu got the attack off in time, was able to block it, and says, "So you've returned." And then we see a fearless smile. The Emu's ready for round 2 against the dragon form Loki. I want to see the flashback of what gets Needhog, or gets Imu going so much when they see Needhog. Like, what was the relation for them in the past? But unfortunately, that is where the chapter ends. And I'm pretty sure that Shonen Jump is on a break next week. So it's not an Oda break, but it is a magazine break. So no One Piece for a week. We gotta marinate on this for a little bit. But this was a pretty, I don't know if a lengthy chapter per se, but it had a lot of content in it. So Oda definitely made sure, we got what we needed before we go on break. We have some things to think about. That silhouette with Imu and Joy Boy. Like I said, people are already taking that as confirmation of the theory that they were once friends, which I think is just the best way to go with it. It's going to make the most sense. I think Imu probably had a good reason for their actions and then maybe kind of lost it along the way and just kind of went overboard with it. I'm also interested to see if we will see Loki's hybrid form or if that's something Oda's going to save for later. I feel like this is the perfect time for it to be revealed, but maybe when Luffy gets there, we'll finally see. I've been wanting to see since the Luffy Loki team up, both of them in giant form fighting together. I think that would just make for such a cool sequence. The combos they can hit would be so cool. So I really hope we get to see that in this upcoming fight when Luffy's finished storing up on food and all that. But yeah, that's about it for this week's chapter. I will catch you guys in about 2 weeks for the next one. Peace.